The NBA's newest dynamic duo, Anthony Davis and LeBron James on the Los Angeles Lakers. This is going to be something special. If you guys are looking for a stacked NBA 2K or Fortnite account, make sure you go to sportstnb.com. That's right, no more Twitter. He has an official business website, sportstnb.com. There you'll be able to view all the accounts, see the prices, and get what you need. The link is in the description. Go click it and see what he has to offer. Obviously, you guys heard over the weekend, big NBA trade news. Anthony Davis traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Some of the young pieces are moving out of LA. And obviously, that teams up Anthony Davis and LeBron. So we did this video actually, I think 2 or 3 months ago. But we're doing it again with my boy Laker fan here. Please drop a like on the video, man. I appreciate everyone coming through. Subscribe if you guys are new. We're just going to talk about what this means for the NBA. You guys are going to see a couple gameplays here. Actually, pretty good gameplays too. First game against Elite 3 sharpshooting playmaker and glass cleaner. And, you know, we were trying to recreate the way LeBron and AD are going to play. A lot of pick and rolls, a lot of alley-oops, a little bit of ISO sometimes for LeBron, and you'll see. But listen. Obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but I am a Laker fan. I don't really talk about it in my videos a lot because I try to keep it like unbiased. But if you follow me on Twitter, link in the description. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see all the time I'm always tweeting about the Lakers. And we've sucked for 6 years in a row. As a Laker fan, we're not really used to that. Okay, we're used to, competing for titles. Obviously, we got 16 championships and we're used to being right there contending for championships. Last 6 years, we missed the playoffs. So obviously, adding another great player to go along with LeBron, you would think that's going to bring us back to relevancy, which obviously, you never know what's going to happen with injuries. But for the most part, we're going to make the playoffs. Like that's with LeBron and AD, you're going to make the playoffs. Unless, of course, like I said, you can't predict, injuries. If they both get injured, well, that changes everything. But for the most part, we should make the playoffs and we should be able to compete. And who knows? Well, the big thing that people are missing is it's going to really depend on what we put around them. We got to get shooters like 3-and-D guys. Right now, we have a 5-man roster. Obviously, we had a ton of one-year contracts like Rondo, and all those guys are, technically free agents right now. Now, we could try to bring some of those guys back, and I'm not against that, but we got to make sure we get some 3-and-D guys. We need guys that can play defense and guys that can spot up and knock down threes. Obviously, a lot of the offense, like you're going to see in this video, is going to be a lot of pick and roll between LeBron and Anthony Davis, and that's going to be something, obviously really effective. But if you don't have shooters around them, it's not really going to work. And you saw that this season, even with just LeBron, there wasn't a lot of shooters around him. Now, to be fair, we had a lot of injuries. LeBron got hurt and stuff like that. But even, we saw before the season started, the roster was not constructed properly. You need shooters around players like LeBron and Anthony Davis. So it's going to be interesting to see if Rob Pelinka in the front office can get that done. But that's going to be one of the big things, is getting the right pieces around these two. You see us throwing lobs in the pick and roll here. You're going to see a lot of that next season, man. Anthony Davis and LeBron are two of the best pick and roll players and, just two of the best players in general. But you got to put the right pieces around them. So even if you're not a Lakers fan, a lot of people are still excited about this trade. Now, the reason being is the NBA has never been more open. Now, I understand maybe if you thought your team was getting Anthony Davis, so you're not really happy that the Lakers got him. I understand that. But for a lot of the teams that weren't even really pursuing Anthony Davis, you should be excited about him going to LA too, because the NBA has never been more wide open. Obviously, Golden State is still a great team with who they have, but with Klay being injured and Durant being injured, they kind of come back down to the middle of the pack, when it's just going to be Steph and Draymond and a bunch of role players. I don't really think that's enough for them to be elite. But you look at how open the league is, man. Teams competing for a title. If I miss your team, I apologize. But obviously, Houston. Now we got the Lakers. Now you got, I guess we could say Denver, right? They were good this year, but I think they're a little too young. But we'll see. We'll put Denver up there. Obviously, they're number 2 seed in the West. You could say Portland. Obviously, they went to the conference finals. San Antonio is always going to be good. Golden State, it's tough to say. I don't think they're really title contenders, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt because obviously they've gone to 5 straight finals. Then even out East, if Toronto keeps Kawhi, obviously they're the defending champions, they're contending. Or who knows, Kawhi could go to the Clippers, and then that makes the Clippers a title contender. So it really depends where Kawhi goes. I'm also hearing Kawhi might go to the Lakers, but I can't even think about that. I'll be way too excited. But obviously Milwaukee, Philadelphia, like there's so many teams you could honestly say have Boston. That have so many teams that have a chance at winning the title, and we haven't really had that for the last 5-6 years. Every year you basically know it's going to be Golden State versus LeBron, and then obviously LeBron left the East this year, so it was Golden State, and then Toronto took us by surprise and they were able to pull it off. So you never know what could happen, but the league has never been more open than it is right now, and obviously the Lakers picking up AD puts them right in title contention. I believe actually they're the favorite to win the title now because of Golden State's injuries, I'm assuming, and because of not knowing where Kawhi is going to go. I believe as we speak, as I make this video right now, I believe Vegas has the odds as the Lakers is the favorite, which is crazy because they didn't even make the playoffs last year. And right now they only have 5 people on the roster. They literally have 5 players on the roster. Like I said, it really depends what they do with the rest of the roster. You got to have, we've seen it, man. Chemistry is a big thing. Depth is a big thing. It's huge, man. Toronto was not the most star-studded team. Philadelphia had more stars. Golden State had more stars. I know they were both teams were battling with injuries, but even with the injuries, they still had more stars than Toronto. But Toronto had great depth and great chemistry. They had the right pieces. It's not always about having the best pieces, man. It's about having the right pieces, and Toronto had that. But you see, this is actually a really good game. Like I said, we haven't missed a shot, but we have 2 turnovers. So it's 19-18. We get a dunk there, 19-20. It was actually a really good game. I'm trying to tell y'all. When I say it was a really good game, it was a really good game. We're shooting perfect, but they're still in it because they got 2 steals that we really couldn't really do much about it. But sidestep, step back, come back, then use the screen from AD again. Trying to get him stuck, but it's not really working. Drive in, left hand for the win. 22-19, great game there. We got another one for you guys too. Another thing I want to talk about was New Orleans. Like, it's funny. If I was on Twitter and I didn't know anything about basketball, I would think the Pelicans are gonna be the team that wins the title. People are hyping up what they're getting beyond belief. Now, don't get me wrong. They got some nice young pieces. Lonzo, Ingram, Josh Hart. They got the number 4 pick and a couple other first-round picks as well. They got a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it's like Twitter's going crazy talking about how the Lakers lost this trade and New Orleans got the way better end of the deal and all this stuff. Like, is it just me or are we forgetting how good Anthony Davis is? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying New Orleans lost the trade. They got a lot of good, nice young pieces. Absolutely. But it all depends what that turns out into. I mean, we've been talking about Boston having, so much of the future. They have the future. They got all these picks. They got all these young, talented players. Well, yeah, it's been like how many seasons now with Boston having all this? Back when even little Isaiah Thomas was on the team, they were talking about how they have all these assets and assets and assets. Well, assets don't win you nothing. You gotta turn those assets into something. Whether that means that player develops into a star or you trade it to get a star. Having young assets doesn't win you anything. People have that misconception about the NBA. They say kids don't win in the NBA, and they really don't. It's about veterans who know how the league works, who know how to get it done in the playoffs. And listen, I'm not saying Lonzo and Ingram and those guys can't develop into that. Of course they can, but there's no guarantees. Do you know how many young players that were a great asset to a team and just didn't develop into anything? Now, I think Ingram and Lonzo will be very good, don't get me wrong. But to act like LA lost the trade, like the way some people are talking, to me, it's just blasphemy. But hey, everyone can have their opinion. I'm not saying New Orleans lost the trade. I'm not saying the Lakers lost the trade. I think it was the right trade for both organizations. Davis wanted out. The Lakers wanted Davis, so they gave him young pieces. Now New Orleans can rebuild with those young pieces. Plus, they're going to get Zion. They also have other draft picks. They're going to have a nice young team that, who knows, we'll have to see what they develop into. But let's not go out there and act like Anthony Davis is not a straight-up bona fide superstar, man. This dude puts up like 28 and 14 in his sleep. Plus 3 blocks. Don't forget about the 3 blocks. Dude is a monster on defense. He's like the one dude that can defend the pick and roll by himself. He'll guard the guard and he'll guard the passing lane because he's so tall. His wingspan is so long. Like, come on. let's not forget about Anthony Davis just because, you know, he didn't really play a lot this last season, man. But anyways, I'm super excited, obviously, as a Laker fan, that we got Anthony Davis. If you're a fan of the NBA, you should be excited too, because there has never been more parity than there is coming up to this season. Literally anyone can win the championship, man. I appreciate you guys watching. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Peace.